Hey, hello out there. Welcome to Trust Together. Hope you're all having a good day. Corbin and I are sitting down here at the gathering place in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's kind of a park that's got water features, playgrounds. It's a meeting place, a gathering place. People are here to discuss, well, what we're all about is discussing healthy relationships. I was telling Corbin the other day, had a couple in, and they're both very frustrated with each other, and they're like navigating around and dancing around, worrying about what the other person's thinking and feeling like they're walking on eggshells. And the one of the partners said, it's like, well, I don't know why I have to change to make the other person happy. I should be able to be myself. I was like, fair enough. I think about it this way. If you're making dinner and you prepare your dinner and your spouse doesn't like trout but prefers salmon, then you make them trout. Are you really changing who you are to fix salmon? Or are you just learning to take an interest and have a respect in who your partner is, and to get to know them and to do things for them in a way that gives into the relationship or gives to the relationship? I think a lot of times we go so caught up in how we are experiencing our feelings and getting all hurt that we get self-absorbed and don't turn toward our partner to ask what their needs are, to find out what they really like and what they really want. And that's all we have to do. It's not about changing who you are. Well, I suppose it is. It's about learning to ask questions rather than project negative feelings into the relationship. Get to know your partner. Always stay curious. Because true love, deep love, is a choice. That choice to participate in the relationship long term.
I'm just curious. We're talking about how we are in relationships, and I know we've talked about this before, but I was curious if you could provide some examples of how, um, you know, traumatic events in childhood or just interactions with parents in childhood that everybody perceives in different ways may have a negative impact in our relationships as adults.
Yeah, sure. I've got a example I'd like to use. I call it the Lucky Charms analogy. Um, so imagine there's a little kid, little kid, and they happen to see a commercial on TV for Lucky Charms and hear about the rainbow and pot of gold and all these wonderful marshmallows, and they run up to their parent and they say, "Mommy, mommy," or they can be running up to their, it doesn't matter. Say, "Hey, can I have some Lucky Charms?" And if the parent turns toward the child and says, "Well, baby, why do you want those Lucky Charms?" And the kid says, "Well, I want those Lucky Charms because I saw this leprechaun on TV and he said it was really good for me. And and it's got all these wonderful marshmallows and looks like a lot of fun." And the parent goes and says, "Well, we don't eat that because, that's filled with sugar and stuff, and that's more like a dessert than a good healthy breakfast." Well, the alternative is the child runs up to the parent and says to the parent, "Can I have some Lucky Charms?" And the parent says, "Can't you see that I'm busy? Go talk to your dad." And then they go to their dad and say, "Dad, can I have some Lucky Charms?" They say, "Well, can't you see I'm busy? Go talk to your mom." Well, in those particular situations, in the second situation, and the parents dismissed the child's needs. In the first situation, the parent turned toward the child as the child turned toward the parent. So they're learning healthy relationship skills when they're having an experience to turn toward their partner, or in this case, their parent, for guidance. If, however, the parents are dismissive or avoidant around the children, just like in the second example, then what ends up happening is the child learns that they're on their own and they don't have anybody to turn toward or support. So when they get to be an adult and they're in an adult relationship, that pattern of behavior of, well, nobody's going to be there for me, becomes systemic in their nervous system. So when they're under distress and their partner turns toward them and says, my gosh, it looks like you're under stress. What can I do for you? Well, they learned when they were a kid that nobody's there for them. So they're just like, oh, it's no problem. I'll take care of it on my own. I'll deal with it on my own. Well, and their partner goes and says, okay, I feel good about the relationship. You go ahead and deal with it on your own. And feeling that the relationship is fine. Well, that's just a reenactment of that's been created of that childhood experience when the adult partner that had parents unavailable for them, they just created a reenactment of their own childhood experience by dismissing their partner who is trying to show up for them. And when we turn away from our partners, we don't feel safe. We feel safe in community when we turn toward people. And it's an example. We have lots of opportunities where we go up to our parents, and if our parents aren't there for us, then we learn that we have to be self-sufficient and survive on our own.
How does it change or impact us differently? For example, let's say the mother dismisses the child, but the father doesn't, or vice versa. Does that then sway us in one way or another to, as adults, to turn towards certain people as opposed to others?
Oh, absolutely. We can create an association, either based on gender or um, based upon livelihood and what they do. One's a homemaker and one's a working and one's a workaholic. You know, we might feel and develop safety at home, but not safety at work. Uh, or we could develop safety at work and not safety at home. Or we could just got to remember, we're always trying to find a way to be safe in the world. And that's all our nervous system's trying to do. And if, as we're growing up, a parent uh, is asking of us to be there for them, as an example, or dismissing us, then that creates certain affects in their nervous system, the child growing up, such that they will have difficulty relating to a particular parent. There's a good assessment, quiz.attachmentproject.com. And you take that quiz, and it will show whether you're avoidant, in other words, you avoid people to be safe, or whether you pursue people to be safe. You're anxious, so you pursue people to be safe. And it'll show you your attachment to your father, your mother, to people in general, and to your spouse, and how well you are in healthy relationship and feel secure, or how you don't feel secure in relationship. And it's really easy quiz to take, and it will show you, oh wow, under stress, I've got a relationship to my mother, and I tend to avoid, or I've got a relationship with my father, and I tend to pursue, because you feel anxious around your father, you feel anxious around your mother, you feel both anxious, right, and avoidant around both parents, or one. And that has a direct impact. And you can see directly in that one little simple quiz how those relationships with your parents are affecting your lives today. It's called attachment. Attachment is what we develop our attachment style is what we develop as we're growing up. And it's our nervous system's attempt to learn from our life experiences to create safety throughout our lives. And we can have experience, we can actually be secure around our parents, but insecure around other people, because other people, things happened in our lives around other people that made us feel unsafe, and not around our parents. Or we could be safe around other people and not safe around our parents because we found a mentor in our life, or a grandparent, or somebody else that stepped in to create safety for us and create security.